They never imagined the day would arrive when their own kids would turn against him. But now, one after another, Kody Brown's children are coming forward, voices shaking, accusing their dad of letting them down. And the clincher? It's not broken vows. It's about futures stolen. Before we go too deep into this explosive tale, I have to ask, do you think the truth always reveals itself, regardless of how long it takes? Let me know in the comments. The air is thick. This is no courtroom, not yet, but the tension weighs the same as a trial. There are no cameras rolling, no producers calling the shots. This is unfiltered, raw confrontation. Christine sits on the edge of a tall oak table, hands gripped in a tight fist, as if preparing herself for what is to come. Next to her, Janelle crosses her arms, jaw set, a silence born not of serenity, but of pent-up rage. And then on the other side of the table, Kody, arms crossed, body leaning back, attempting to exert control, but his eyes betray him. They dart about, sharp and nervous, like a cornered man. The children, his children, are dotted around the room. Some avert their gaze, others glare at him with fury that speaks louder than words. For years, the public witnessed a family grappling with plural marriage, jealousy, and changing allegiances. But this is something else. This is not love. This is money, trust, and betrayal. One says something. It's Garrison. His tone is strong, but there's a shake in it, as if he's practiced this for months. Dad, you did not only let us down, you stole from us, and you thought that we wouldn't know. The words cut through the air. Robyn squirms, hand flexing as if she would want to reach for Kody, but doesn't. The other children, Aspin, Peden, and even shy Savannah, look at each other. They've all been waiting. Kody attempts a smile, a rehearsed smile that once won over crowds and held his family anchored to his dream of oneness. But it doesn't work. His voice has that blend of authority and desperation he resorts to whenever the walls come crashing down. I did what I had to do for this family. You think you get it, but you don't. None of you do. Christine slowly shakes her head, her voice even but biting. No, Kody, they get it. You didn't do it for the family. You did it for yourself. The accusation hangs, suspended in the air. The children squirm in their seats, some of them nodding, others making low noises, the room buzzing with the tension of a wound finally opened. And right here, just as the truth begins to unravel, we have to ask, if your own children stood against you, could you still claim you did everything for them? The tale is rolled back, tracking the footprints that led them here. It begins with money. Years went by with Kody saying, every dollar went into the family pool. That was the rule, the formula to remain equal. But over time, murmurings began, receipts not matching, bank accounts showing a different scenario, houses transferred into other names, loans no one but Kody signed for. At first, the children didn't realize. Why would they? They were absorbed in school, with their own dramas and a family too big ever to feel complete. But as they matured, they picked up on the cracks. Why did Robyn's home always seem to have more? Why were certain of them informed that there wasn't money enough for college, while new cars materialized in other driveways? It wasn't merely unequal. It was suspicious. Peden, never tactful, remembers late nights spent listening outside the kitchen, while Christine would whisper to Janelle, the voices low but insistent. It's gone. Christine had once grumbled, holding a scrap of paper. It's all gone. Peden hadn't a clue what she was talking about. Now it makes nauseating sense. Kody wasn't simply spending money poorly. He was transferring it, channeling it. And by doing so, he was siphoning opportunity from his own children. Back at the table, Garrison pushes on, voice now breaking. Do you have any idea what it's like to see mom cry because she couldn't pay to help us? While you, his words catch, raw with betrayal. While you sat there telling us to trust you? Kody's face flushes, his posture stiffening. He dislikes being questioned, particularly by his children. I worked for that money, he snaps. I kept this family together, while all of you griped. Do you think that cost me nothing? But the kids don't blink. This is no longer the voice of a leader. This is the voice of an exposed man. And this is where the question smolders hot. Is love blind, or is there a point of breaking when betrayal cannot be justified by love? The room becomes chilly. Robyn finally breaks her silence, her words quivering. They don't realize the sacrifices you have made, Kody. They don't recognize the pressure. But Christine interrupts her. Her voice is bitter, no longer contained. Stop making excuses for him, Robyn. This is not about pressure. This is about choice. He chose to prioritize himself, and now the kids are the ones suffering because of it. Silence once more. The pressure of decades of secrets bearing down on everyone. For the first time, Kody appears small. His shoulders fall. His eyes drop. His armor of pride crumbling under the glare of his children's eyes. He knows what they don't yet understand. This confrontation is only the tip of the ice. The secret they believe they've discovered is merely the tip. The actual betrayal lies deeper, darker. And as the kids lean in, with hunger for answers, Kody inhales deeply, poised to give a defense that will blow their minds. But before we go any further, what do you believe is stronger? A parent's authority, or a child's truth? Share your thoughts below. Kody raises his head, his eyes once more keen, and speaks slowly. If you really want to know the truth, then you better be ready to hear everything. Because once I say it, there's no going back. Kody's words slam like a thunderclap. If you really want to know the truth, then you better be ready to hear everything. Because once I say it, there's no going back. The children stiffen. It's not what he said, how he said it. Low, measured. A tone that sounds both threat and warning. Christine furrows her brow, instantly recognizing the act. She's watched Kody play this part before. The patriarch who thinks that his voice is law, that he can manipulate fear into respect. But this time is different. This time, the fear doesn't pay off. Then say it. Garrison insists, inclining forward his fists against the table. Say it now, because we already know you've been lying. What else are you hiding? Kody takes a deep breath, massaging his temples like a man burdened with the weight of the world, or faking it. His gaze shifts to Robyn, who regards him silently, pleading almost for him not to go on. But he pushes back in his chair, determined apparently that the only way is through. You think I stole from you? Kody starts, his voice trembling between indignation and justification. You don't know half of it. That money, those accounts, they weren't just for me. I was shielded, all of us, from the lawsuits, from the banks, from the world waiting to see us come apart. The children look at one another, anger mingling with puzzlement. Lawsuits? Banks? No one had warned them about that. Christine's mouth compresses. She knows where this is headed. Twisting it, she says icily. Protecting us? That's your argument. Tell them the truth, Kody. Tell them what you did with it. Kody bangs his hand on the table. The noise rings out, cutting, definitive. I paid off debts you don't even know exist. I made deals you couldn't manage. And yes, I moved funds, because if I hadn't, we would have lost everything. The room shakes with his tirade, but no one retreats. Instead, his children push harder. Aspen's voice pierces the tension, firm but with tears in her eyes. If that is true, then why do the records indicate properties solely in your name? Why is Robyn's house all new? And were we told we had nothing? Why do the bank statements reflect withdrawals you cannot account for? Robyn shifts restlessly, her arm around the chair, but says nothing. Kody's jaw tightened, his muscles rigid. He's cornered once more. And this time the cracks are beginning to appear. And this is where the tension heightened, because each revelation from Kody merely means the next question, next betrayal, ready to erupt. Janelle hunches forward, her words shaking with repressed anger. Do you have any idea what this is, Kody? Your children don't trust you. Your wives don't trust you. And worse than that, you don't even care. You'd rather defend your pride than your family. Kody spits at her, the pulse in his neck rigid. But he says nothing. His silence speaks volumes. That's when Peden tells him, his voice colder than anyone could have anticipated. It's not about the money, Dad. It's about respect. It's about how you treated us. How you treated us like pawns in your game. You promised us unity. You promised us love. But what you did was control and secrets. You lied. And you thought we'd never discover. The air is thick with truth. For an instant, Kody seems likely to shatter. His mouth opens, his eyes brimming, not with guilt, but with rage at losing control. But rather than apologize, rather than take a step towards his children, Kody turns to Robyn. You see what they're doing, he growls. They've been poisoned. They want to ruin me. They don't care about the sacrifices we made. Robyn finally finds her voice, shaky. Kody, stop, please. This isn't doing any good. Maybe you should reveal everything to them. At least then, but he silences her, yelling now. No, they wouldn't get it. They don't deserve the truth. If all they care about is hanging me out to dry. The kids shrink back. It's not only the words, it's the poison in his voice. The father they've trusted before now sounds like a foe. Christine stands up from her chair, her complexion white but firm. This has nothing to do with understanding, Kody. This has to do with accountability. And if you won't acknowledge what you did here, then perhaps we should bring it somewhere where you can't hide. Perhaps it's time the truth appeared in court. The word court slices through the air like a blade. Everyone freezes. The children exchange shocked glances. Janelle's eyes widen. Robyn gasps. And Kody goes still. His mask finally shattering. You wouldn't, he whispers. But it's not confident. It's terrified. Christine meets his gaze. Her voice steady. Watch me. And this is when everything changes. Because once the term court is in the picture, the fight isn't emotional anymore. It's legal. It's in the public eye. And it's going to get a whole lot nastier. The children murmur amongst themselves, realizing that this isn't just about money, or lies, or betrayal inside the family. This could go beyond their walls, into a world where cameras and judges and lawyers tear apart every secret Kody has fought to bury. Garrison slams his hand against the table, eyes blazing. Then let's do it. If he won't give us the truth, we'll drag it into the light. Kody gets up suddenly, his chair scraping across the floor. His face is flushed, his chest rising and falling, his voice shaking as he struggles to maintain authority that's slipping from his grasp. You think you can bring me down? You're my kids. You owe me respect. No one stands with him though. Not Janelle. Not Christine. Not even Robyn this time. And the children. Their silence is deafening. Kody knows in that moment that he's lost something he can never regain, their loyalty. He drops his voice, nearly a whisper. If you follow through on this, you'll regret it. The room grows cold. Not a threat. Not exactly, but close. Christine ends the silence at last. No, Kody, the only thing we'll regret is letting you get away with this for so long. As Christine's words ring out, there is a sudden knock on the door. A man in a black suit enters, holding a thick envelope. He places it before Kody, with a silent gesture. Kody looks at it, immobilized, his hands shaking. On the front, in capital letters, summons. But here is the question. When a family feud is turned into a war in the courtroom, who actually wins, and who loses everything? The ring of the gavel crashes through the courtroom, clear and authoritative. The air is heavy, nearly oppressive, as the Brown family enters a world they never thought would come to define them. The chill, unforgiving corridors of justice. Kody sits stiff at the defendant's table, dressed in a dark suit that feels more like a costume than protection. His eyes dart nervously across the room, scanning the judge, the jury, his wives, his children. This isn't his living room anymore. There's no control, no camera crew to edit his words, no sympathetic glance from Robyn to soften his image. Here, every word counts, every silence damns him further. Christine and Janelle sit side by side, their attorneys beside them, documents piled in great heaps. The cumulative weight of years of evidence. The children stand along the benches behind them, some holding on to each other's hands, others glaring icily at the man they used to call dad. Betrayal has made them hard. When the judge calls the case, a hush falls. Christine is the first to speak, her voice steady but heavy with emotion. Your Honor, we're here today because trust has been broken, not just between a husband and wives, but between a father and his children. What was stolen wasn't just money, it was futures, education, stability, and years of peace. Kody shifts in his seat, his attorney whispering something in his ear, but he doesn't answer. His jaw clenches, his fingers drum restlessly against the table. Then the first witness is brought in. It's Garrison. He makes his way slowly to the stand, shoulders braced, face pale but resolute. The oath is administered, and he sits, his eyes fixed on Kody. And for a moment there is silence. Tell the court what you found, Christine's attorney asks. Garrison's voice cracks at first, but then becomes stronger. I found records, bank statements, withdrawals that didn't add up, money that was supposed to feed into the family fund, but didn't. I tracked it. It was routed into accounts in Dad's name, and sometimes Robyn's. Gasps circulate in the courtroom. Robyn dips her head, tears in her eyes. Kody's fists are knotted, his muscles tense. The attorney probes further. And how did that personally impact you? Tears begin at last to show as Garrison's voice trembles. I was informed there wasn't money enough for me to graduate from school, that I'd have to make it on my own. I took it as gospel. I figured we were broke. But we weren't. Dad just didn't want us to have it. The room is hushed, apart from the muted sobs of some of his brothers and sisters in the audience. And this is where the tale grabs tightest, because nothing cuts closer than a kid accusing their parent under oath. Kody can no longer remain silent. He leaps up, his voice ringing out. That's a lie. I did everything for you. Thankless kids. You don't know the pressure that was on me. The judge bangs the gavel, warning him to sit down, but the damage is done. His outburst only makes him look smaller, more desperate. Then Aspen steps up to the witness stand. Her account is quieter, but more piercing. She remembers nights Christine wept over bills, when offers of help never came through, when Robyn's home shone with new furniture, and the others did not fare so well. It wasn't money, she whispers. It was love. Every dollar he took for himself said that we didn't matter. The jurors shift uncomfortably, visibly shaken. Robyn can no longer keep quiet. She explodes. You don't know the whole story. Kody did what he had to, but is interrupted by her own sobs. Even she looks trapped, struggling with loyalty and honesty. Christine's attorney takes advantage of the moment. Then let's discuss that. Mrs. Brown, why did your household get more? Why were certain property items put in your name? Robyn shakes her head in adamant refusal to speak. Her muteness shouts more loudly than any denial. And this is the turning point. The cracks in the carefully constructed empire of control that Kody has built, now exposed for all to see. Christine stands, requesting to speak directly to the court. The judge acquiesces. She speaks in a shaking voice but with gravity. It's not about money mismanagement. It's about betrayal. We created this family together. We trusted him, and when the children needed him most, he chose power over love. That's why we're here. That's why we can't remain silent any longer. The courtroom waits for her words. Even the judge leans forward, his face weighed down by the burden of her plea. Kody finally talks, but this time his voice is softer, almost shattered. You think I wanted this? You think I liked seeing this family disintegrate? I did what I believed was right. Maybe I made errors, but I did not steal. I defended. I bore the weight none of you could comprehend. The attorney is quick to respond, sliding a stack of paperwork onto the judge's bench. Then explain this. Explain the secret accounts, the property exchanges, the debts you said you paid that don't actually exist. The room tenses as the judge flips the pages, his face expressionless, and now tension simmers, because everyone knows that the next few minutes might mean the difference between Kody walking free or finally getting held accountable. The gavel comes down again, calling for a recess. The family stands, the air thick with tension in every corner of the room. Christine and Janelle confer with their attorneys. The kids cluster together, talking hotly. Robyn weeps softly, hiding her face in her hands. Kody stands, separate from the rest, his shoulders weighed down, his eyes seething with anger and fear. He knows it isn't over yet. He knows the next witness might just bring it all to an end. Cliffhanger. As the courtroom clears, Christine spins to Kody, her eyes glinting, her voice soft but lethal. Next witness will destroy you, Kody. And you know who it is. Kody's frozen in shock, understanding dawning on his face. He breathes softly, nearly beneath his breath. They wouldn't dare. But this is the question. When betrayal cuts the deepest, do you trust to tell the final truth, a wife or a child? Section 4, Explosive Testimony. Approximately 1,000 words. The courtroom is abuzz with a low, anxious tension, as all the people trickle back in from recess. Voices quiet, footsteps muffle, and even the air seems thicker. Kody's sitting at the defendant's table, his posture stiff, his face white under the fluorescent lights. His attorney leans in close and whispers something in his ear, but Kody doesn't react. He knows what's about to happen. Christine warned him earlier during the break. The next witness will destroy you. Order is called, his gavel resonating through the courtroom. Christine's attorney stands up, putting on his glasses. Your Honor, the plaintiffs would like to call their next witness. Savannah Brown. Gasps reverberate throughout the courtroom. Savannah, Janelle's reserved, quiet daughter. The one who didn't say much. The one who held back as the loud ones took over the family drama. Her emergence now is seismic. Kody's head jerks up, his eyes wide with surprise. No, he says under his breath. Not her. Savannah stands up from the bench, her shaking hands reaching out as she slowly makes her way to the witness stand. Each step is a defiance. She's sworn in, her voice barely audible, but firm enough. As she sits down, she does not look at her father. Christine's attorney starts softly, with uncommon kindness. Savannah, can you explain to the court why you decided to testify today? Silence for a moment, and then her voice heavy with feeling she says, because I won't be quiet anymore. I've seen him lie. I've seen him prioritize Robyn's kids over the rest of us. I've seen my mom cry, night after night, worried about how to pay bills while he told us there wasn't enough for us. And I know the truth now. I know where the money was going. The room changes. Everyone's focus on her. Kody shifts forward, alarm written across his face. Continue, the attorney urges. Savannah breathes deeply, her eyes finally rising to meet her father. You stole from us, Dad. You stole years we'll never have back. You lied to me and said there wasn't money for my braces. You said I'd have to wait for college because there wasn't enough. But I discovered the statements. I saw the transfers. You did have the money. You just didn't give it to us. A sob bursts from the gallery. Janelle clamps a hand over her mouth, tears streaming. Christine tightens her grip on her hand. Even Robyn averts her face. She cannot bear what is being told. Kody leaps up, his attorney catching at his arm to sit him back down. His voice shatters, loud, urgent. Savannah, stop. You don't get it. I did it to keep us all safe. But Savannah shakes her head, her voice burgeoning with strength now. Born of years of hurt. No, Dad. You did it to keep yourself safe. To keep Robyn safe. You chose them instead of us. Every single time. And this is the breaking point. Because when the softest voice gets heard, the truth strikes loudest. The lawyer sets a pile of documents in front of her. Can you validate these are the things you discovered? Her hands tremble as she points to them. Yes, that's his signature. That's the money. And that's the proof. The courtroom is silent as death. The jury leans forward, eyes raking over the incriminating evidence. The judge takes the papers, turning over each one slowly, his face growing darker with each page. Kody's face collapses. He scans the room for a friend, but no one looks at him. Not Christine. Not Janelle. Not even Robyn. He is completely alone. He rises again, his voice breaking. Did you think I wanted it? Did you think I liked lying? I supported this family. I raised 18 children. None of you would have made it without me. The words ring out, but they are no longer powerful. They are hollow, bitter, void of power. Christine finally says something, and her voice is cutting and decisive. No, Kody, you did not bear us. You broke us. And now the truth is bearing itself. And this is when the viewer holds their breath. Because what happens next will either destroy Kody utterly or reveal even more secrets. The judge swallows hard, his tone firm. Mr. Brown, these are serious charges substantiated by documented facts. Do you want to respond officially? But before Kody can give an answer, there is a shout from the rear of the courtroom. It's Peyton, not able to remain silent. He doesn't have to answer. We all know it's true. He stole from us blind, and he expects us to believe it was love. The gavel comes down, commanded by the judge, but harm is already inflicted. The family can no longer restrain itself. The children's voices build, one upon another, releasing years of bottled-up pain and betrayal. Chaos fills the courtroom. Kody pounds his fists against the table, his rage tremulous. I am your father. I command respect from you. No one hears him. His control is lost. Savannah, tears streaming down her face, delivers the final blow. Respect isn't stolen, Dad. It's earned and you lost it a long time ago. The words hang heavy in the air, striking deeper than any evidence. For the first time, Kody sinks back into his chair, his face pale, his hands shaking. The mask of control he's worn for decades shatters in front of everyone. Cliffhanger. The judge declares a last witness will be called tomorrow, one who possesses new evidence that could change everything. The Imaginer's camera focuses on Kody's face, pale, shattered, and haunted. But here's the question. If children's voices can break a father, what happens when the final piece of evidence is presented? Section 5. The final twist and resolution. Approximately 1,000 words. The sun outside the courthouse falls lower, long shadows in the room as everyone prepares to come back in for what the judge has assured will be the final day's worth of testimony. The air clings, thick and suffocating with anticipation. Every look, every whisper is like the full weight of a family at war. Kody slumped over the defendant's table, shoulders rolled forward, eyes empty. The bluster he sported so proudly in the preceding hours is forgotten. His fists, which had been curled in rage, now lie loosely on the wood. For the first time in years, Kody seems less the dominant patriarch and more man-trapped, laid bare by the voices of those who once believed in him. The judge puts on his glasses. Court will hear from one last witness before we break. His voice turns crisp. This witness has provided evidence that could radically change the fate of these proceedings. The room goes quiet. Christine sits up, her eyes narrowing with interest. Janelle clutches the edge of the bench, tensing. Even Robyn, who has been half hidden in quiet, bites her lip, visibly uncomfortable. The bailiff unlocks the door. And then, in comes Meri Brown. The gasp is audible. For weeks there had been rumor that she would or wouldn't testify. Meri had been the quiet partner, the one who suffered the humiliation of being divorced from Kody in 2014, so he could marry Robyn legally. She was the first wife, the one who had borne decades of heartache. But here she was, standing tall, her face steely and inscrutable. Kody's face goes white. Meri, no. Don't do this. His voice breaks, more a plea than an order. She doesn't glance at him. She approaches the stand, takes the oath, and sits. For what feels like an eternity, she remains silent, simply looks around the room, her eyes finally falling upon the children, then Christine and Janelle. When she does speak, her words slice through the silence like a knife. I was silent too long. I stood up for him when I shouldn't have. I said it was loyalty, but truthfully, it was fear. Fear of losing it all I had worked for. Fear of accepting that the man I loved wasn't the same man that I wed. Kody's head shakes, his attorney frantically whispering to him. But Meri's voice becomes firmer, more determined. The fact is, I have proof. Not tales, not feelings, papers, agreements, things he secretly transacted behind our backs. I know where the money disappeared, and it wasn't to safeguard us, as he would have you believe. The lawyer moves forward. Mrs. Brown, are you presenting this proof to the court? Meri nods, pushing a thick envelope across the table. Yes, because the children need to know. Because Christine and Janelle need to know. And because the truth is no longer Kody's. The judge opens the envelope, reading the papers with careful deliberation. His brows are furrowed. He reads, flips another page, then another. At last he looks up, his face somber. Those reports show that Mr. Brown directed more than $6 million into hidden accounts during the past decade, which were not reported to his wives or relatives. Money seems to have been directed into trusts that are only in the names of Mr. Brown and Mrs. Robyn Brown. The courtroom explodes. Christine covers her mouth with a gasp. Janelle curses under her breath, shaking her head in disbelieving horror. Even Robyn, who has been tough all along, bursts into sobs, hiding her face in her hands. Kody leaps to his feet, his voice panicked. That's not true. That money was for the family. It was for protection. But no one believes him anymore. His children's testimony had already stripped his words of credibility. And now Meri's evidence nails the coffin shut. The judge bangs his gavel for silence. Order, order in the court. When composure is restored, he pins Kody with a cold stare. Mr. Brown, the evidence before us is conclusive. Unless your attorney can come up with a valid explanation, this court has reason to proceed with charges of misappropriation, fraud, and breach of trust. The words hang there like a verdict already given. Kody leans back in his chair, shattered. His chest heaves with breathless gasps, his breathing labored. He gazes out at the courtroom, at Christine, who regards him with burning determination, at Janelle, whose tears blend with silent relief, at Meri, who finally seems liberated, at Robyn, whose weeping resonates like a betrayal he never expected. And he turns and looks at the children. Their faces no longer seethe with anger but are cold, remote, determined. The bond that had held them to him is severed. The judge slams the papers on the desk. This court is recessed until tomorrow morning. But let it be understood, the walls of truth are closing in, and the era of secrecy is over. The gavel comes down. The courtroom clears, buzzing with shock. But one thing's for sure, Kody Brown's empire has crumbled. As Kody remains seated alone, gazing off into space. Meri stands by him whispering softly. The last blow that the audience will never forget. You didn't lose us, Kody. You threw us away. And now the world finally sees it. Fade out. And there you have it. The news that blew Kody Brown's final illusion of control to smithereens. But this trial ain't done yet, folks. Tomorrow the court will deliver its verdict. And I guarantee you, it's going to shake everything up. What do you think? Do you think Kody deserves prison time for what he's done? Or is there still hope for redemption? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them. If you don't want to miss the next installment of this unbelievable saga of courtroom drama, press that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The drama's just beginning, and believe me, you won't want to miss what follows.